Hey, what's up, Brain here, and today I'll be doing my walkthrough for the Splinter Cell Blacklist mission called American Consumption. I'm playing it on Perfectionist difficulty, mainly using stealth techniques, so this is if you want to play the game in stealth mode, which by the way gives you the most points in this game, so the highest rewards. Should take about 24 minutes on average. Now, gear-wise, what I recommend, not only for this mission, but just overall if you want to play this game in stealth, is pretty much the first thing you should unlock is the stun crossbow, or the crossbow, which allows you to stun enemies from a distance silently. And it's much better than the stun gun because first off, you get much more ammo with it, and I think it also has some more range to it. So I highly recommend it as the first unlock if you plan on playing most of the mission in stealth mode. It's really good. So that's pretty much, I think, the only thing you really need to have to kind of follow this walkthrough. For the rest, you don't really need that many gadgets. Obviously, you can have as many gadgets as you want if you, you don't have to follow precisely this walkthrough to make it work. But so for the first part, in this kind of indoor fair we have, I just kind of scout out where the guards are. And make sure you go down when they're not looking at you. And you don't actually need to take out any guards in this room. You can just walk or kind of silently walk around the guards and make your way to the exit. Should be pretty easy. You don't have to follow exactly the path I do, but it's what I recommend, obviously. I don't take out any guards. I just make sure, check my corners before I go around them and whatnot. And you should be all good. And if you want, you can also mark the targets. It's a really good technique to, keep an eye on the guards and make sure they don't see you. So I use that throughout the whole mission, so obviously I recommend you do the same. Here I was mainly trying to make sure there wasn't a second guard that could, manage to see me from another angle. Make sure you stay in the shadows, because when you do, obviously you'll notice, if you don't know yet, the little lights on the back and on your arm. When they light up, that means you're in the shadows and you're much less visible, especially from a distance for the guards. So here I go ahead and take out this guard and close the door because I saw a guard there in the alley. Just peek under the door if you want to make sure there isn't anyone or any guard behind it that surprisingly spots you. But if there isn't, you should be good to go. Here I actually decide to wait a little longer because there's a guard in the corridor here. But you can probably just proceed straight away to the red door over there, which brings you to the first checkpoint. So I've sped up a few parts in this video just because I'm only waiting for guards to pass by, and makes it easier and the video a little shorter. But this brings us to the first checkpoint of the game. I divide this video in checkpoints so you can skip through the checkpoint easier if you want to watch it again, or just get to the difficult part quickly, because this is pretty much the easy part up till now. But here I go ahead and go in this ventilation shaft, or however you call that. There might be one or two guards here, so make sure you don't get spotted or take them out. Here this guy spots me, so I decided to take him out, since you have quite a lot of time in Blacklist to actually take guards out before they start shooting. Again, I go in the air vent. It's probably the easiest way. There's a lot of air vents throughout this whole mission. And they're really handy. Also, they give you extra points. Some of them give you extra points, so I highly recommend you do that. Here I was a little lost because it was very dark, but obviously if there's a guard in front of the opening, make sure he walks away first, and then you can go ahead and get out of it, and you can take him out while you're at it. Alright, go ahead and enter the ventilation shaft on the left part of the room, or at least when you enter it, it's on the left part, not the one that's facing straight at you when you enter the room, but the one on the left. It will give you some extra points, as I mentioned before, and it's probably the best one for getting there quickly. So now you arrive in the room where the hostages are, and I decided to not take anyone out or any of the guards out, because you can go through this whole room just silently without really getting noticed. As you hear right there, the guard says everyone start a search pattern because they found a dead body, and that's exactly what you want to do. You want them to start doing a search pattern because then they walk away from the hostages. If they're not walking in a search pattern, that means there's going to be 1 or 2 guards around the hostages, and you can't get through them without taking them out. Obviously, it's not a bad thing to take them out, but if they start a search pattern, which I recommend, you can just pass through without taking anyone out. And the way you do that is just take somebody out and then leave the door open or something, and they'll start a search pattern, or just like shoot a lamp or something like that, do something distracting, and that should pretty much do it. Here, as you can see, there's no guards here because they started that search pattern. And go ahead and climb down this big shaft here as well. And that brings us to the second checkpoint, and this is where the mission can get a little tricky on Perfectionist. So here it's more time based and a bit more difficult, but here, you know, I climb on the right side, I take out the 2 guards. I highly recommend, you're gonna have to take out all the guards. I tried doing this without taking them out, but it's easier by taking them all out. Here I use the crossbow to stun that guard, shoot out the light for the second guard to come by, in case he didn't notice his like colleague died, which is kind of ironic, but stun him as well. And before you actually go straight, you gonna take care of some other guards that are quite annoying once you continue on the mission. So it's better to take them out first, and then, you know, it makes it easier. So there's one guard here, which I just take out with the stun gun, I think, as well, or the crossbow, sorry. Here I decide to shoot the light because sometimes the guards see the dead bodies like in an angle which you wouldn't expect. So it's better to always keep them in the dark so they don't get spotted that easily. Just go ahead and take out that guard. And then you can climb up here again. I think I decide to go under the bridge just to check if anybody's or which guards are there. There should be an armored guard as well as 2 other normal guards in total left. So there's one guard you have to capture, which will give you some extra points. Sorry about that. So here, just wait until the armored guard kind of walks away, and then as you can see, I captured the guard you have to mark, and I kind of wait until he starts walking away as well before you climb over this fence. And by the way, if you climb up the pipe that's stuck to the ceiling, it will give you extra points for exploration as well. So in case you want to do that, you can do that now as well if you want. That's 100 points extra. So go ahead and capture this guy. You can stun him or whatever you want. You can actually just take him out by hand. Here I actually almost get spotted because the guard I kind of stunned him on a inconvenient position, and I start picking up his gun instead of picking up his body. But luckily I think I do manage to get him out of the way in time. So for the armored guard, you have to be very careful that you're behind him when taking him out. If you're in front of him or slightly to the side, you cannot take him out because he's armored. So make sure you walk behind him very silently, and and not at full speed, so you can take him out. There you go. Here you can just walk through this tunnel and brings you to the next part of the mission. You can just jump through this shaft over here. You don't even need to use the ladder because it ends up with a cinematic, so.
Okay, Sam, you're entering an old sewage tunnel. It looks like it heads towards a water filtration plant.
Could be their exit.
Here you can go ahead and click on the annotation if you want to skip the cinematic. All I do is at the end of the cinematic I spare the guard, because apparently that gives you more points, especially in this in the ghost category.
No, the drone isn't responding. Hang on. Setting another one.
Your men are after the water filtration plant. Why?
Go to hell. I'll tell you. Biological weapon. They're using a disease
To poison the water supply? How do I get the bombs off the hostages?
The code. Flash drive on my belt. I told you everything you wanted. I helped you. You can't kill me, please.
Grim,
We heard it all, Sam.
give me a flash drive. Connecting it to my offset now.
Alright, once the cinematic is finished,
Relay it to Chicago.
just go ahead and run through the tunnel here. There isn't any guard, so you can just run through it.
Here an hour ago.
Shit, too late.
We don't know that yet. Hurry.
Alright, this brings us to the, I think, third checkpoint of the mission. There you go, checkpoint 3. And this part is quite easy, the beginning of the checkpoint, or the beginning of this part of the mission. All you have to do is kind of follow that drone and take out, I decided to take out the guards. You don't actually have to, but it's easier if you do, because after a while there's just too many and you always get spotted from some kind of angle. So I recommend it's just easier if you take them out, and even if you leave dead bodies on the ground and the drone passes by, it will not alert if it sees dead bodies. So that's kind of I guess unrealistic part of the game, but yeah.
How are we doing? Everything's going according to plan. Is the pathogen in the water? It's going in as we speak. How much longer do you think it'll take? 15 minutes tops.
Right here I just start taking them out.
I think he's over there. I see him.
I won't, by the way, I won't recommend taking out the drone, because if you do, they just send out a new drone and it starts at the end of the tunnel, which is kind of annoying because it starts going in a circle again. So it's better to just avoid it and not take it out. Here, lastly, I just take out the guy that's commanding the drone, or the pilot or whatever. Once you've done that, you can just run through the stairs. There isn't any guards or anything, so.
Why?
The flash drive. It's using a variant of PPES military-grade encryption protocols. It's a direct match to the encryption used by Sadiq.
This will bring you all the way outside, which will also bring you to the fourth checkpoint of the game, or of the mission. There's one last guard here, by the way, which you can take care of. Should be pretty easy. You can even do a little signal or a bait or whatever that's called. But that's to checkpoint 4, which brings us outside. Here I decided to go to the right side. It's a little easier.
On the filtration plant. There's roof access if you can get up there.
There's only 2 guards in this part of the mission, so it's actually quite easy to take them out. There's one. And if they're close together, you can just take them out quickly after each other. Shouldn't be too difficult, as you can see. Then go ahead and climb on the pipe that's attached to the wall. Go to the ventilation shaft, or through the ventilation compartment. Here there should be one guard. You can just wait for him at the corner of the stairs right here, and he should come up by himself, so shouldn't be too difficult. Just take him out when he gets close. Now once you go downstairs in this room, there should be a laptop on the table, which is not here for some reason. Sometimes it's there, sometimes it isn't, but usually it's there, and if it's available, obviously make sure to hack the laptop. Gives you some extra points.
Dealing with pros now.
Alright, in this room, go ahead and go to the right and then enter the ventilation shaft.
It's all the systems. I'm gonna have to unhack their hack to open that door, or you're not getting to the gunk they're putting in the water.
Work fast.
This will also give you an extra 100 points, obviously, for exploration. Here you can go ahead and bait, well, don't bait him, but you can just wait for the guy to come in the room, I think. I might actually bait him, I'm not sure. Yeah, I do bait him in the end, so. Probably the easiest and fastest way to bring him towards you. Just take him out in the room, because there's a second guard right there as well, so you don't want to take him out to the right there in the middle, because obviously you'll get noticed.
Quiet.
Got it. You're good to go, Sam.
Where are you?
So this guard right here will notice that his teammate or his colleague disappeared, so he will automatically come towards you. I decided to just stun him because it's faster. You don't actually have to put him in the shadow, I just do it just to make sure. And I think that brings us to checkpoint 5, if I'm correct. Which is probably one of the hardest part of this mission, because you have a timer, and one very important thing for this part of the walkthrough is that you have to be exactly at the same timing as me for it to work, otherwise the guards won't be on the same location. So go ahead and go on the left side, go down the ladder, make sure you mark that guard so you don't get spotted. Go ahead and jump over this wall. And right here I'm going to pause the video real quick because there's a few different scenarios that might occur. If the guard is in the location where the red arrow is, you have to actually wait right here for him to walk all the way where the green arrow is. If the guard is already where the green arrow is, you can go straight to the A point or to the A pump. But you know, make sure if there's a guard at the red arrow, which is possible, it depended. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't. Make sure you wait a few seconds and then go ahead and disable it. So you don't actually need to take out any guards for this first pump.
Locking me out, but I got a few more tricks up my sleeve.
Here, just wait behind this wall until that guy just walks by. And then go back up the ladder you went down. Now, as you can see, I did all that under a minute because we're at 9 minutes right now. So if you're still on the same timing as me, you can go ahead and follow exactly the same things. But if you're not, you might actually have to be a little bit more careful where the guards are because they won't be at the same area anymore. But here, go ahead and go to the balcony, down the pipe. And right here, once again, I'm going to pause the video, where as you can see the guard circled in red, if he's facing towards you where the arrow is kind of pointing at, you actually have to wait in the shadows until he starts walking. If he's facing you, you will get spotted if you start walking into the light. So stay in the shadows until he starts walking, and then you can go ahead and continue on. Go ahead and walk all the way to the end. And go down the stairs and climb on the wall over there, and then make sure you wait until the guard walks the opposite side, or the opposite way from you, away from you. Here I decided to take him out with the crossbow because it's just faster, and this part of the mission is quite timed, so if you're still at the same timing as me, you can actually climb straight up there. If you're not on the same timing, make sure you check before climbing up, because there might actually be a guard right there in front of you. As you can see right there, I circled an area where a guard could appear at some point. He can actually come up from the stairs of the opposite side. So if he does, just use your crossbow and take him out. It shouldn't be too much of a problem. But otherwise, you can just wait on this corner until the armored guard starts walking away. So right behind the pump, there's an armored guard, which you might not have noticed, but it's there. Right, so once the armored guard starts walking away, just go ahead and disable the pump. And that's pretty much all you have to do for this part. Then you have to go back to the other side and disable the main pump.
It's good work, but it's too late.
Shit. What now?
The pathogen's already at infection levels in the water, and the main outflow's still open.
Maybe not.
Here you have to make sure, sometimes there could be a guard in front of you, just go ahead and take him out as well.
There, and you can shut it by hand.
On my way.
Just go back the same way you came. Now, as you can see right now, I mark a guard, and you want to make sure that guard is walking in either direction, but he cannot be facing you when you want to go back. So make sure he's walking, wait until he's walking before you start climbing the pipe or going towards it. So as you can see, I stay in the shadows, and as soon as he starts walking, then you go, because otherwise you will get spotted in the light. So then you can go ahead and climb back up the pipe. And this is pretty much the end of the mission. All you have to do is, go back downstairs, enter the room, and then disable the pump. Should be pretty easy. There isn't any guards here. There could be one if you can just take him out or wait for it to walk by, But this is pretty much the end of the mission. I'll thank you all for watching. Hopefully it helped. If you did find this walkthrough helpful, be sure to like the video. That's very much appreciated, and subscribe to my channel for more walkthroughs. And yeah, hopefully I explained everything properly. If there's any questions, obviously comment description or comment section down below. But anyway, I'll thank you all for watching once again, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.
Briggs?